the team, Diego, Juan, Alan, and myself, Verena. We are here today to talk about Result, which we regard as a unique investment opportunity, since it is a fully diversified portfolio within a single stock. Let's talk about the holding company now. Result is listed on the Nasdaq under the ticker Press. But I want to clarify something about Result. Many people may say that Result is the typical Creole agricultural company, but it is far from being that. Result is a real estate company. It has a major participation in IRSA, an European real estate development company, APSA, the company behind the largest network of shopping centers in the country, and Banco Hipotecario, the 10th largest private bank of Argentina. Founded in 1936, Result first went public in the Buenos Aires Stock Exchange and later on, during the 90s, on the Nasdaq. In 2007, it acquired a participation over IRSA, which has previously acquired control over APSA. Now we're going to speak about its main business units.
I want to speak about our business. As you see, Result has many lands in Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil, and Argentina. It acquires the land, underdeveloped and underpriced, improve its productivity, and sell making a profit. Well, negative cash flow in the business unit is not bad because it should be taken as capex. Something very important is that in the financial statement of Result, land is variable value, but an accurate valuation of Result should take a mark-to-market value. For that, we made a map taking into account things such as location, main activities of the company, and arrived to a price of over $1 billion for 22 times its book value. The information was provided by our company Argentina Uruguay.
Let's now talk about APSA and IRSA. APSA is engaged in the shopping mall industry in Argentina. It owns 13 shopping malls, 8 of which are located in the Buenos Aires metropolitan area. There are 7 other ongoing projects, and one of them is located in the province of Neuquén, near to the Muerto Reserve. It has 3 main sources of income: rentals, which are charged based on tenant sales, a collective fund, which is charged based on the size of each shop, and the rest are parking tokens, condition rights, and other commissions. Special attention should be paid to private consumption. As you may see in the graph, it has a strong link with revenues. Now, IRSA is the biggest real estate company in Argentina. It develops residential real estate, such as residential towers with amenities, such as swimming pools and gyms, and private neighborhoods known as countries here, which are located in the outskirts of the city. It also owns stocks in hotels, such as the Sheraton, the Intercontinental, and the Show, which is located in Patagonia, one of Argentina's main touristic destinations throughout the year. Finally, it owns office buildings, which are located in prominent areas, business areas of the Buenos Aires city, such as here, Catalinas, and Puerto Madero. It's important to remark that real estate transactions in Argentina are carried out in dollars. Since 2011, the government has imposed FX controls, which led to a 50% fall in real estate transactions. But however, prices have remained quite steady due to price inelasticity.
Okay. Banco Hipotecario was originally a government bank, and it was privatized in the 90s. Although the national government has most of its stock, IRSA has a controlling stake with 48% of the voting right. About 60% of the branches are located outside Buenos Aires city, which is a relatively high figure compared with other banks. Being strong in the inner provinces makes a synergy with the rest of the holding because of the proximity to the agricultural activities. Traditionally, Banco Hipotecario has been oriented to the mortgage sector. However, as you can see in the slide, it has changed its portfolio, increasing the portion of consumer loans. Banking industry is especially exposed to government intervention. In fact, the strong devaluation at the beginning of the year resulted in extraordinary earnings. However, after that, the central bank put a limit on the bank's holding of foreign currency assets and other measures that are likely to hurt profitability.
Now we are going to talk about risk. Yes. As you see, we made a bottom analysis and a risk matrix. I have mentioned 4 main issues. First, 80% of Jesús' debt is in dollars, so it's exposed to a devaluation. Second, through IPSA and Banco Hipotecario, Jesús is exposed to the domestic economic cycle, principally with inflation and consumer. Then, a fall in commodity prices would affect the agribusiness sector and the value of land. Finally, the FX control made a gap between the IDRs and the domestic stocks. In the graph, you can see Crescent and Tenaris, one of the main stocks of Argentina.
Okay, now let's talk about valuation. We start with discount rate. We base the computation of the cost of debt on the current yield to maturity of Jesús' outstanding amount of dollar-linked corporate bond. This type of notes are denominated in dollars, while its coupons are paid in pesos at the official exchange rate. Therefore, in the context of the strong government intervention, FX controls, and the valuation expectation, the calculation of a reliable yield to maturity can be tricky. To cope with it, we built a synthetic corporate bond by adding up all future cash flows of Jesús' dollar-linked notes and applying our own foreign exchange forecast. This way, we obtain a dollar yield to maturity and a monthly duration that are consistent with other dollar-denominated series issued by IPSA, APSA, and Banco Hipotecario.
Let me now introduce you to the cost of equity. Capital model may be misleading in emerging markets and highly regulated countries. We ran several regressions of each company's ADR against the S&P 500 index. None of those results were statistically satisfactory. So the choice of any of those betas would have been absolutely biased and arbitrary. Therefore, we used the Goldman Sachs approach, which established that the cost of equity can be obtained by the risk-free rate, the country risk premium, and an adjusted equity risk premium of a mature market. It's worth pointing out that this result matches the cost of equity informed by the CEOs, the Jesús CEOs at the CFA kickoff meeting. WACC for 2014 was obtained with the usual expression. For the following years, we developed a Cox, Ingersoll, and Ross approach as we think that the Fed will increase interest rates. We did a second mean reversion model to NB+, where it gradually achieves the level of its Latin American peers, especially after next year's presidential elections.
So, with everything that we have said, I am going to speak about how we evaluated each of the companies. We used different DCF models for each of them. In the case of agribusiness, we decided to focus on 3 main products: ranch, grains, and sugarcane, taking into consideration the particularities of each of them. And as for land bank, as Diego said, we focused on mark-to-market. Now, on to IRSA and APSA, we decided to use a free cash flow to equity valuation model. In the case of APSA, we ran a linear regression of APSA's revenues against private consumption, which, as we can see, proved to be satisfactory, and we obtained the equity value. For IRSA, the regression was run in a similar fashion, but in this case, we reversed IRSA's revenues against GDP. And IRSA was valuated separately from APSA, from Banco Hipotecario, and from Tainus, which was later on incorporated at market cap. Finally, as for Banco Hipotecario, we decided to use a relative approach. The reason behind this choice is the fact that the banking industry is highly comparable here in Argentina. So we decided to use a price-earnings ratio to obtain the value. With all the values that I have mentioned up to now, we obtained our target price. This target price is around $17. But additionally, we created what we call the liquidation value. The liquidation value assumes that Jesús is going to sell all its lands and its stake in IRSA. So we can, in base of the land bank, we calculated a 20% discount sell-off, taking into account income tax and other erogations, and we arrived at a liquidation value of around $14, which of course is below our current price, so it is consistent in that way. Our target price is also consistent from the point of view of the So we should buy the recommendation of Mercosur. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Would you mind telling us about warrants that they are in stock?
You mean the warrants? Okay, the warrants, although they should be considered in the analysis, we didn't give us that weight in the evaluation, since we expect that it's like more with other things to consider. But also we've been pretty conservative with evaluation, so that warrant would have introduced many noise to the evaluation, since it's market price. I don't know if you have any further questions.
What do you think investors are missing, and also what would cause you guys to be wrong in the stock right now?
Well, that's also a very interesting question. To start with, I'd like to remind you what my partner said already about the liquidation value, which is pretty strong to start with. You also have to have in mind that here in Argentina we're in a difficult time with some policies for the government. So we strongly think that investors are waiting for the right moment to enter to the market. You should also have in mind that the implicit exchange rate in the contado boniqui, which is operation that is carried out here in Argentina to obtain dollars, since it has FX controls here in Argentina, where you can buy the stock in pesos, then change it to the ADR and sell it in so you can gain those dollars. So that creates a high pressure on sales. I don't know if you would like to add something.
I would like to add something. The price is very low, but we think that the mystery is on land. The land is the value of the land is wrong. So we evaluated the land, and with this, the price was very different. We suppose the price land in Argentina for this company, or all companies now, is very low. So the grade come up, yes, for coming to this value. Taking into account two main things. First, a the valuation of the land in Brazil, and a company Argentina Jurados, which is a real estate company specialized in agribusiness in Argentina, to put the value of all the lands that Jesus have. We don't have the Brazil valuation, and upside the valuation of Argentina. This is the mystery of the price. Here I can show you what. First, this is an example of the it's a land of the north of Argentina. Taking into account the land, the activities, the irrigation, the climate, the soil, and different aspects, Argentina bring us a value, a minimum and a max value depending on the development of the land. Yes? In this case, the minimum value, you can see that the graph is 1.4. We're saying that value to all the lands. After that, we take into account the development, the activity needs of the land. So, we add it to the minimum value, and of the spread between the prices depending on the development. For example, here in Italy, we assign 1.4 and the 50% of the spread are running to a price by hectare of 1.6. We did this with all the land. So we arrived to a price over $1 billion. Then we have to apply some discounts because this is not enough free cash flow to the firm income. First, we apply a 20% discount, yes, for sale to new clients. Then at 35% of tax because the companies are still income. 5% in case of other costs of transactions and intermediaries. And arriving to a price of around $14. Yes. Taking into account the land and the sale of all the stocks the Fexud has, we arrive to the price. So we see the Argentina's market is cascading. There is no real reason we can tell you to explain this different point of view.
And do you think that it would be easy for the company if they decide to sell the firm to a part of that company in order to realize the capital gains?
Could you repeat the last part, please?
Yes, it would be easy for the company to realize that capital gains. It would be easy to sell from
for that, we will take a 20% discount. So we have clients because clients undervalue their expectations, so they monitor to the market.
As a matter of fact, we were trying the first stage of the competition to evaluate the company using comparables. And in fact, we were looking for comparable companies on different websites, but it was very difficult for us to find one that was a full holding as Versuris. But we found different agricultural companies that in fact have a quite similar activity. They are private, they have lands that they keep as land bank, that they buy at a very low price and they develop them as you explained. So there are many companies that could be targets for this possibility of Versus selling these lands.
If the management team decides to split the company into two units, the farmland and the real estate, do you think that would be a right decision?
No, definitely not. So Diego already said the agribusiness per se does not have a positive impact in EBITDA and net margins, let alone. They carry out this business as capex, as he already said. So when it's fully developed, they make a profit. So definitely no, it's a business of its own. And it's pretty diversified in itself, so that wouldn't be so wise.
And something very little about that. Let's ask ourselves, why did Result or Results Management not think of this possibility before? Well, I think that we have to look at the management itself. The Results Management is occupied mostly by the Elspace family through the company, through the society that we know as Visa. But talking a little bit about Eduardo Einstein himself, we can see that he is CEO of Visa, he is the chairman of Brasilagro, APSA, Banco Hipotecario. Of course, he has a very strong lobby power, he is a highly influential person in different Jewish institutions that are internationally present in any country. So I think that as he has an experience of 20 years in the real estate industry, I think that of course it wouldn't be wise, and the reason is obvious. I mean, we arrived at a target price that is, as you said before, that has an upside potential 40%. So I think that the fact that he has been able to adapt himself to different stages of the country, to different governments even. We can see here the current president of Argentina, and next to her we can see the mayor of Buenos Aires City, that is one of the main contenders for 2015.